I mean, my background, I have been casting for about 5 years now, or at least been in the casting realm for about 5 years now, and I've had my own company for the last two or three. Before that, I started off when I got into film, I thought that I wanted to be an actor, just like everyone does. So I went through high school and I became a background actor to get some on-set experience. From that, then I went to college and my parents didn't want me to pursue anything in film, so I got my degree in criminology and sociology instead. That's to appease cool. them. Yeah, and actually it really helps too, so I always kind of advocate to kids, like definitely do workshops like these and train in acting, but find your education either, if not in acting, then in anything else, and you can still pursue acting. Mm-hmm. You know, I know people with their masters in engineering who are now series regulars on Falling Skies. You know, and it actually really helps you. A, it makes you more well-rounded. B, it means that you have a fallback plan. But C, when you learn things that don't have to do with acting, it just makes your acting more nuanced and deeper. And when you travel and you see the world and you see different ways of life, that's what you can put into your performance. So I think I was paying for my tuition when I was in college by becoming a production assistant. So I did that for a few years while I was also going to school. And after that, then I was actually going to go to law school, and I was paying up and saving for my law school tuition by working for Korean and Heike. And then that summer I had to make the decision whether or not I was going to book my flight to go to Ontario, and I ended up staying here. So it was, parents didn't take it too well at first, obviously, even though I was paying my own way, but yeah. They weren't too thrilled with it. I think now they're sort of more at peace with it because they realized that it was something I wanted to do, and then I still had the foundation. It was really because I had the foundation in a different type of education as well, so they knew that I could go back to law school if film wasn't going to work out. But I think it's worthwhile for people just to be well-rounded, take up sports, do hobbies, so that you're not just acting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll just make you a better actor as well. So I guess I kind of got into casting because I realized that I was never going to make it as an actor, but that I could recognize and appreciate good acting ability.
Julie says the same thing, Stuart says the same thing.
Yeah, exactly, you know, and I think I'm not formally trained in acting, so I always tell people I'm not an acting teacher, I'm an audition coach and a casting director. But my knowledge for audition coaching is from casting directing, and it doesn't come from a place of knowing methods or techniques for you guys to act. I can just tell you what my perception is on my side of the table, how to come across in your auditions so that hopefully you'll be booking roles, because it's very competitive in town, especially now. So taking workshops like these are really beneficial for you.
Now, just a quick recap in case any of the parents don't know. Right, producer runs the show, they hire the director and the casting director writes the breakdown, sends it out. How much influence do you have on who gets cast?
I would say 60 to 70% off the top, simply because I'm the one who's going to bring in an actor to show them or not. Mm-hmm. You know, a producer or director may have people in mind if they worked in the city before, or maybe somebody's told them about some people. And those are people that I might be suggesting as well. But when it comes to anything from like the day players to even some of the supporting lead roles, and the director and producer leaving it in your hands, then I have to weed through a ton of submissions. I get anywhere from 60 to 200 submissions per role. And I bring in 10 to 15 people, sometimes as little as 6 people. So 6 to 15 people out of 200 submissions. From that, then I make my short list of maybe 4 people per role, maybe sometimes just down to 2 if it's a smaller role. And then from there, then I would say the director and producer have all the say from there. And sometimes I don't agree. Sometimes I really push for somebody and they just go in a different direction. And sometimes I really don't want somebody, but they insist on hiring that person. But I still have to be at peace with it because it's the producer's say. Yeah.
Great. Why don't you talk a little bit about your process? You know, so from when the producer, director sends you a script, to when you finally get to wash your hands of the whole project.
Yeah.
And then we'll just open it up to questions from the front row.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing that I do, I get the script, I break it down. So I'll have anywhere probably about 40 speaking roles that I'll be sending out to all of the agents. I'll give the agents about 24 hours to submit all the people that they think would be right and who should be suggested for each role. And from that, I start picking out the 10 to 15 people that I'm going to audition for each role. So what kind of makes me choose certain actors over others? It could be something like resume. How many credentials do they have? Especially for the larger roles, when you're going into like large principal and lead and supporting roles. Look at resume. I look at who their agent is. And it's not about playing favorites with agents. It's more, there's so many agencies out there, and there's a handful of agencies, more than a handful, who pretty much sign anybody just right off the sidewalk. So I'll look more closely to certain agencies where I know that they're more discerning with the talent that they sign on. So when I say that I'll look at who certain agencies have submitted, it's because I know that if they're being represented by that agency and that agency is reputable, the person's probably got some potential there. So after that, then I do my auditions, I make my shortlist, we do callbacks, and they make their choices. So when the producer and director make their choices, then I start the negotiations, the offers and the negotiations with the agents to see who's going to come out. So it's kind of half artistic and half business, which is what I like. It's not just sort of about what do I picture in each role and what performance can I get out of an actor. A lot of it too is paperwork and contracts and what trailer people are going to get and how many days they're going to be working. So it's a lot of kind of detail like that, but it satisfies the kind of the law student that never was part of me, and then I still get to do the creative aspect of just every time I read a book, I picture who I'm going to cast. You know, when I read the Da Vinci Code and Harry Potter before it came out, that I was always picturing who I was going to cast. So there's an artistic point as well, and it balances itself out nicely. But I think it's important for people to know, though, especially for film and TV, that it's so competitive that even just to get into the room, you're already ahead of the game just by getting into the room. You know, 10 people out of 200 people submitted, you already had a 5% chance just to get into the room to begin with. And that's where things like your resume, your training, your headshot is key. Your headshot and your resume are your business card. Right. So getting high quality headshots, even though they're expensive, but getting them and updating them every time that your look changes, whether it's your hair or your weight or your look or your height or even just anything like that. Updating your headshot, taking all the classes that you can, sending yourself out for commercials, student films, short films, independent films, just building your resume so you have that on-camera experience. And then your agent's going to push harder for you because they're confident in your work. And I'm going to push harder for you because I'm going to know that you have shown the work ethic and the skill, that you're going to know what a mark is, you're going to know where the camera is and what your lighting is, and you're going to have that discipline. So I think some people think, oh, I'm just going to be a star and I'll be the next Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez, but you know, it rarely happens that way. You need to work your way up. You don't just get handed a lead role in something. So you have to put the work in. You have to commit to it. And if you can think of anything that you could do that you'd be equally happy as acting, do it instead. But truly, I mean that sincerely. You know, if you're falling into acting because you went, oh well, that kind of seems fun, but I'd probably be really happy as a veterinarian. Go be a veterinarian. You know, you're signing yourself up to be in one of the most unstable industries that you can have, and it has its highs and its lows, and there's a lot of rejection, and you have to have a really thick skin, and there's no job security for anybody. You know, as an actor, as a casting director, even producers don't have job security. So you have to really love acting and make sure you're doing it for yourself and for the right reasons, and don't do it to be famous, because the actors who are happiest in town are the ones who are just working consistently and they're thrilled to be having good projects and good theater to do. But if you're fantasizing about being on the cover of Cosmopolitan or GQ, you're just not going to be satisfied. You won't be satisfied. You have to look forward to being a working actor, not a famous one.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
You know, here's your chance. You have to, you know, in a very small group, just you ask any of the audition questions, you know, that may be on your mind.
Yeah, focus on auditions now because we'll talk about industry questions after.
Okay. So first of all, I do want to say that I auditioned for you for Drusilla, so thank you for letting me come in.
No problem. No problem.
Considering it's 5%. But so every casting director is different, and there's tons of actors who are dedicated and come in completely prepared. Yeah. So I guess my question is, for you, what makes an actor stand out?
An actor who stands out, especially for, let's say, this role of Drusilla, it was the lead role in Christmas Story 2. Yeah. I saw girls across the country. I even did like an open call across high schools for it too. Really, the girl who ended up booking it, Tiara Scoveby, do you know her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she booked it, and what really made her stand out, and what always stands out with these auditions, are everyone's reading the role the same way. Mm-hmm. No one's bringing in a unique trait to there, and she brought it in, and there was just some, like a sort of a glimmer to her. She understood, she embodied the role. Not just in her appearance or in her acting ability, but she found moments that were unique that she made her own. She brought something a little bit different to it. So it can be something, I'm not saying ad-lib or you know, create a stutter just to be different, but I mean, find a beat or a reaction, or even like throw in maybe a one-word ad-lib at the end if it works, that just makes you stand out and that shows that you really understand the character. You know, if it's a comedic scene, finding a comedic beat or throwing in a button at the end of the scene that just sort of ties up the scene nicely, that will make you stand out. Because I saw probably about 30 people, 30 to 50, maybe, probably closer to 50 people for Drusilla, and that's what made her stand out.
Thank you.
in the end. No problem. And that goes for anything, even if it's a one-line role.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going in for the pizza guy, just not forcing your performance too much. You should be the pizza guy and not try to make it Hamlet.
Yeah.
You know, just like it's exposition, and especially when you're going up for the smaller roles, your purpose there, it's usually not about your character in the scene. It's about the other character, especially if it's a lead role, and you're just moving the plot along. So don't make it about you. Don't make yourself too quirky. Don't make yourself a scene chewer. Don't try upstaging the other actor. If you're a lab technician or if you're a student in the hallway, be the student in the hallway, but don't make a meal out of it if it's a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
It sounded like
I will say, here's a note before you guys start your auditions, and this was a note that I was giving yesterday a lot. Find different nuances in the scene, because when we choose the scene for you to audition with, it's because we want to see what kind of personality traits or quirks or beats you can find. So if you find that you're playing the scene the same way from beginning to end, and your character hasn't changed or shown any layers, you're probably not playing the scene to its full potential. Who your character is at the beginning of the scene is different than who your character is at the end, either with a piece of information that's given to you or that you've given to another character, the way that you're processing it and reacting to what's happened in the scene. You should be different by the end of it than you are at the beginning. You know, and that can even mean maybe you start off upset, and you find little moments of levity and comedy, or maybe you're starting off angry and then you're being placated by the end of it. But just make sure that you're not playing the same note the whole way. I should see where the arc or the climax of each scene is, because every scene within it has a climax. Okay?
Okay, let's get right to it.
All right. What else? So everybody, I had asked you guys to, do you guys have any questions for me before you start off your scene? A little tip for you guys.
Always ask a question.
Not necessarily always ask a question, but the way that you can kind of turn it around is you can say, I don't have any questions, but do you have any notes for me before I start this?
That's
Nice.
a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one, and nobody else says it. I should trademark that, because that's what I tell everybody, and that's why I can tell in the room whether somebody's taken my class before is when they've done it. And the reason is that, it makes you look like a team player.
Yeah.
It makes you look like somebody who wants to be collaborative and try to get as much knowledge and detail before you even do your first take. It also means that if they do have notes for you, that your first take will be better than everybody else's second take, because now they didn't even have to give you the notes and waste your time with that first take. Now you guys already have some additional information. And if they don't have any notes for you, it's still good, because they show that you have come off so confident in your preparation that you're saying, throw me a curveball.
Right.
I'm willing to work with it.
Yeah.
And so just having that, more often than not, they won't have any notes for you. I usually don't have any notes. But it makes you seem confident, and you didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
So that's a good
Thank you.
tip.
I'm gonna use that.
No problem.
It's a bonus that if you do it in one of Tiffany's auditions, you'll just make her laugh.
I'll be like, yes, Biz Studio. I have seen that before, where I've checked the resume after and been like, yeah, I did teach that one. Yeah. So do you guys have any I could be here for a few more minutes. So if you guys have any other questions, or industry related or audition related, or any feedback. Even I'm opening up to the parents, because I know parents always have a lot of questions too.
I have one where it's like, if you do your audition and you felt that you completely bombed it, is there like any appropriate time to ask if you can redo it?
Only redo it if you're still in the audition?
Yes.
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of bad, but it's just because we've got so many people to see,
Yeah.
and if you've bombed it so badly, it's just a weeding process
Right.
by the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And if you've gone home, then still don't ask to do it again.
No.
Yeah.
Don't ask to redo it. I've had people ask that
Do you
before.
mind if some other actors move into the room while we finish up this conversation?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so don't ask to do it again.
Yeah.
And in terms of asking for feedback too, you should only ask your agents to ask casting directors for feedback if it's a lead or a significant role.
Yeah.
If it's a one-line actor role, don't ask for feedback, because we won't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
She was very polite in the room, and she asked if I had any notes for her.
Yeah.
So,